Alright, here we go. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Time Dazzler here with a brand new Stamina Warden build video for the Greymoor update that just launched. My last Stamina Warden build was about 11 months ago. So I know it's been quite a while. There's been a lot of changes to discuss, and so let's get right into it. Starting out, we need to talk about Greymoor. Patch 6.0.5. To summarize these patch notes in 3 phrases, I would say that mythic items are very, very strong. Obviously, this patch introduces mythic items. If you have access to it, everybody should run a mythic item. Number 2 is that defense and healing has been nerfed. So a lot of big hits to the tank meta that we've been in for so long. And then number 3 is that damage has been buffed. A lot of buffs to the damage sets, and in combination with the nerfs to tankiness, a lot of people are going to be hitting a lot harder this patch. So that's kind of like my summary of Greymoor. A couple of other changes that were many, many patches ago, but I know for the YouTube folk that are watching, Vigor is no longer an AoE. It's now only single target. So in my previous build video, we were using the bear in PvP. We can no longer do that because we can no longer heal the bear with our vigor. And also they nerfed Nature's Embrace healing a little bit. I like the bear playstyle, but we'll make it happen some other time. If vigor becomes AoE again. Other than that, like I said, damage is kind of the meta that ZeniMax is trying to enforce on us. And I think that now is the time if you've always played like a tanky build, I think now is the time to switch focus and finally go into damage. That's the meta that ZeniMax is enforcing, and that's the meta that you should play because ZeniMax rewards you for playing high damage this patch. So, speaking of high damage, start with the race. We are an orc. Two best races right now, and pretty much two best races for a very, very long time, is Orc and Nord. If you want damage, Orc is the best. If you want tankiness, Nord is the best. On my Discord, I'll pull that up real quick. On my Discord, I break down basically the stat efficiency that you get between Nord and Orc. If it would load, for some reason not. But basically, Nord is more stat efficient. Like the number of bonuses that you get for being, like the number of One Piece bonuses that you get for being a Nord is higher than Orc. So Nord, you get a total of 4.031 stat bonuses. I'm talking about like single piece set bonuses. You get 4 of those, plus you get the ult gen passive, and you get immune to chilled. Orc, you get the equivalent of 3.824 stat bonuses, the weapon ability heal, and the sprint bonuses, cost reduction, bonus sprint speed. This gap between Nord and Orc has actually been reduced. A lot of the sets that we're giving you, for example, a lot of the monster helmets that we're giving you one piece of armor have been toned down this patch. And so therefore, kind of the stat efficiency that Nord had has been decreased since the armor bonus has now been standardized to 1487. So in my opinion, my personal preference is Orc. If you feel that you're squishy or you're taking too much damage, you can go Nord. Obviously, Orc also buffs your healing because you have that increased weapon damage, and it also increases your damage. Mundus. I'm using the Warrior again. I like damage. This is a really damage-heavy patch, really damage-heavy meta. You can go for the speed one, which is called Steed, I believe, which gives you health regen as well. Or you can go for stamina recovery. Really, that's up to you. Next, let's talk about the attributes. I like 19 in health, 45 in stamina. That's what I've always ran for a very, very long time. I like having the extra health because Warden scales really well with having max health due to minor toughness being the passive, which gives you 10% more max HP. You definitely want to go 19 in health, 45 in stamina. Also, shifting into the food that we use. We typically use Artaeum, but if we're being kind of greedy with our money, instead of using Dubious, you're better off using Lavafoot. Especially if you put your attributes as 19 in health, 45 in stamina. Lavafoot is more stat loaded than Dubious Cameron Throne. So everybody should go 19 in health, 45 in stamina, and not use Dubious and use Lavafoot if you're trying to save money. If you're not trying to save money, Artaeum Takeaway Broth is simply the best. Okay, let's talk about the potion. Well, actually, we'll talk about the potion afterwards. Let's begin with the skills. So, if you've seen my past build videos, I always give you guys kind of a CP build and a no CP build. And I'm going to do the same here. So the skills that I have right now are for CP. This is what I would run in champion point environment. This is the front bar, the 2H bar, which is our damage bar. We have Subterranean Assault, Bread and Butter, Spammable, Major Fracture, Huge Burst when combined with D-Swing and Dawnbreaker. It's pretty much a requirement. Bird of Prey is one of my all-time favorite Stamina Warden skills. 6 seconds of Major Expedition, which is higher than the 4-second standard that ZeniMax implemented. Not only that, but you don't even have to activate it and you gain Minor Berserk for 8 seconds. Very, very powerful. On top of that, the Animal Companion passive gives you an additional 2% damage done. Dizzying Swing. This is kind of our spammable. I really like Dizzying Swing. I think Dizzying Swing is very, very strong. It has many, many ways to be utilized. So you can cast 2 Dizzying Swings and stun somebody, or you can cast it once and do a medium attack. Really, it's up to you, depending on the situation. But Dizzying Swing is very, very strong. It's cheap, and it also has a snare built into it, which is our only access to having a snare. So it's kind of nice because it gives you a stun, it gives you a snare, it gives you off balance, which increases our damage by 10% in the champion points tree, which will be at the end of the video. But you get a lot from Dizzying Swing. Very, very overloaded ability. Next up, Executioner. This was buffed kind of recently, where it deals up to 400% more damage instead of 350% to enemies less than 50% health. Executioner just hits so much harder than Whirling Blades or Steel Tornado. Like, dual wield just sucks, man. If you're gonna run damage on your... If you're gonna run a damage weapon, you should use 2H. Dual wield's been trash for so long. 2H has just so much better. Better ultimate, better spammable, a stun, an execute, a snare removal, better passives. Like, 2H just outshines dual wield significantly. Dual wield has no way to get off balance, no way to stun. The only ability in dual wield that's decent is Quick Cloak, but with the change to Black Rose dual wield, even that has kind of fallen off in my opinion. Okay. Next we have our front bar flex is what I'm calling this. And actually this is incorrect. Right here we should have on shuffle. And we should have this on the back bar. We have shuffle. So like I was saying, with dual wield, the big benefit of running quick cloak, in my opinion, was major evasion. We can get major evasion from shuffle. We're wearing 5 pieces of medium armor. Medium armor is going to increase our damage. This patch is all about damage. You're going to hear me say that multiple times over and over and over. Also, 5 pieces of medium armor gives us 5 seconds of snare and immobilization immunity. That was also buffed a couple of patches ago. Shuffle, I think, is very, very good. It's in a very good spot. It's the best it's been since the game has released. Next we have Dawnbreaker as our ultimate. It has a stun. It's excellent for dealing damage to vampires, which there are a lot of this patch. It gives us weapon damage for slotting it, and then it's also pretty cheap to use, 125 ultimate. You can also run Onslaught. The only problem with Onslaught is it does not do extra damage to vampires. Really up to you. I kind of like Dawnbreaker. I do like the damage over time that you get from Dawnbreaker as well. I think that gives you a lot of added pressure that a lot of people forget about. But up to you. You can run either one. Back bar, we have our armor buff, basically a requirement, giving you minor protection as well. Very strong. It does cost quite a bit of magicka, but it also lasts 24 seconds. We have our Netch. If you calculate this out, this is equivalent to 400 stamina and magicka. I'm sorry, 400 stamina recovery. It also gives us major brutality and major sorcery. Believe it or not, the major sorcery is absolutely critical for this build. Okay, I'm going to explain that here in a bit. On top of that, every 5 seconds, the Netch removes 1 negative effect. That was also recently added. You can also spam the Netch to remove 1 negative effect continuously. And spamming the Netch also heals you from your Animal Companion passive. Anytime one of your Animal Companion skills end, you are healed for 1400. So not only are you getting a purge, but you're getting a heal on top of it, just for spamming it, and it's free. Basically a requirement as well. Soothing Spores, I use this in CP, I do not use this in no CP. I'll show you the no CP skills once I'm done. Soothing Spores, I like it in CP because our sustain is a lot better in CP. Also, don't spam the skill. You know, you will run out of stamina, but you should only be using this once you fall below 40% health and you gain Major Mending. Once you have Major Mending, you use Soothing Spores, you hold block, you're good to go. Sword and Board clearly on the back bar. We'll talk about the gear here in a bit. We have Vines. The reason why I have Vines here and the reason why Major Sorcery is so important for this build is the heal from Vines scales with your magicka, with your spell damage. Obviously, Major Sorcery increasing our spell damage. So we gain a lot of healing from this ability because this build has a lot of spell damage kind of built in. And we'll talk about that when we get to the gear. But basically, the heal that we get from this is very, very strong. It's very buffed. And it's very buffed, basically. Like, it heals for a lot once we have all of our sources of spell power coming into play. And we'll talk more about that once we get to the gear. Vigor. What can I say about this? You need it. We have Spell Wall as our back bar ultimate, kind of our defensive ultimate. The thing that I like about Spell Wall is that it keeps our health low. For example, Trees acts as a heal. Spell Wall is a great way of defense, and it also keeps our health low. The reason why we want our health low is because now we're going to talk about the gear. And the first piece of gear that we are running is Titanborn. Guys, Titanborn is crazy, okay? It's a sleeper set, nobody talks about it. It's freaking amazing. Alright, physical pen, weapon damage, max stam, adds 110 weapon damage, 1240 physical pen. Doubles when you're below 75% health, quadruples when you're below 50. That is why the Sword and Bortle is so good, is because once we drop below 50, we can use the Sword and Bortle to keep our health below 50 while still not die and not take a lot of damage. And also dish out a lot of damage as well. Okay. Oh, actually, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. I meant to show you the no CP skills. In no CP, I bring Shuffle to my back bar, and I remove Soothing Spores. Okay, Shuffle goes to the back bar, and we add on Growing Swarm in no CP. Just because we can't really sustain Soothing Spores, it costs too much. And then also, instead of Spell Wall, I put on Healing Thicket in no CP for the added healing, as well as having a burst heal, since we're getting rid of Soothing Spore. Okay, Growing Swarm, no CP, dots are doing a decent amount of damage. Lecture Infection has a very high tooltip. It also applies minor vulnerability. It also pulls Nightblades out of Cloak, because it's an AoE now, around the original target. So if you're fighting, like, say, a DK and a Nightblade, 2 versus 1, you should put this on the DK, because if the Nightblade cloaks around the DK, the Nightblade will be pulled out of stealth. There's also a lot of Nightblades in no CP for some reason. Alright, so that's the no CP skills, guys. Anyways, back to the gear. So like I was saying, Spell Wall, the ultimate, allows us to get maximum efficiency out of our Titanborn set. The next set that we're using is the monster set, Balorg. Notice Balorg gives us spell damage whenever well, it has spell damage on the one piece, but it also has spell damage equal to the amount of ultimate consumed. Again, that spell damage buffs our healing that we get from our vines. We also get major sorcery, increasing our healing as well. Also, on top of that, Balorg synergizes very well this patch with Titanborn. Titanborn gives us physical pen and weapon damage. Balorg gives us physical pen and weapon damage. You kind of want a healthy balance of both, because the weapon damage will increase our healing, the physical pen will not. We need a lot of healing this patch, since healing and defense has kind of been toned down. Next, let's talk about the final set, Clever Alchemist. The reason why I like Clever Alchemist is, number one, we can run it on the back bar. We can drink our potion on the back bar, and then we can swap to our front bar and gain the 5-piece bonus. On top of that, the 3-piece bonus is max health. Again, we want our health to go below 50% health, so that we gain maximum efficiency from our Titanborn. We also have a bit of health in our attributes. So in CP fully buffed, I have 33,000 health. If you drop me to 50% health, I still have 16k health left over. 16k health is a lot to burn through, especially when you add on the fact that I'm going to use my spell wall as soon as you drop me to 50%. Right? So that's going to give me a 7-second window of a huge amount of damage. Titanborn, the 5-piece bonus, once you're below 50% health, is basically 2 weapon damage sets combined. It's crazy. And then finally, the last piece that we have, like I said in the beginning of the video, mythic items are ridiculous. They're super stat loaded. Everybody should run one if they have access to it. I'm using the Malakath Band of Brutality. This is going to give us 25% increased damage done. We cannot deal critical damage. Now, back to my Discord. Here is the new crit resist formula. Everybody has 1350 base crit now, which is 20%. Impenetrable is 172 per item. If you add that up, you get a total of 2,554. Previously, there was no base. You would only have Inpen, which was 258 times 7 pieces, which is what most people ran. You would have 18,006 resist. Sorry, 1806 resist. This is in no CP, obviously. In CP, this will be even higher. But basically, you should get Malakat's Band of Brutality because, in general, most people are still going to run Inpen. Inpen is still the best trait to have. And Inpen is generally going to be higher because there's been almost a 700 increase in Inpen to every person in PvP. So your crits aren't going to be hitting very hard. You might as well just not crit and use Malakat's Band to increase your damage. So a lot of people are going to talk about New Moon. The reason why I'm not using New Moon is because if we look at the 2-piece bonus, it gives us weapon crit. We don't need weapon crit because we're not able to crit due to Malakat's Band of Brutality. That is why instead of using New Moon, we use Titanborn. Titanborn doesn't have that line of weapon crit. Instead, we have maximum stamina, which can be utilized by this build, and also doesn't negate our Malakat's Band of Brutality. Now, Malakat's Band of Brutality, you can still crit heal, you just cannot crit damage. So you definitely want Titanborn instead of New Moon, because wasting one line of stat is quite a bit. You shouldn't waste anything. You want to be as min-maxed as possible. Okay, so let's talk about how I have this set up. Actually, one second. In no CP, instead of Balorg, I run Veladreth. Veladreth and Proxess in general get buffed by this Malakat's Band of Brutality. So we all know that Proxess cannot crit. Well, Malakat's Band of Brutality increases the damage of your Proxess as well, which is very, very strong in no CP. Sometimes in no CP I'll run Balorg. Other times I'll run Veladreth. Just kind of feels like what I'm in the mood for. But yeah. Let's talk about how I have this set up, okay? So, obviously I have my 2 pieces, head and shoulder for my monster. I have a heavy Clever Alchemist Cuirass. That's the chest. I have Tri-Enchant, Inpen. Everything is Inpen, guys. 7-piece Inpen. And then I have the heavy Clever Alchemist legs. And then I have Clever Alchemist necklace. All of my jewelry is infused. 2 stamina recovery, 1 weapon damage. So that gives me 3 pieces. And then on the back bar, I gain Clever Alchemist Sword and Board. I'm using double dot poisons as instead of the enchant. The enchant got cut in half a few patches ago, so you definitely need to have a poison here. The poison is up to you. You can use Immobilize, you can use Healing Absorption, double dot poisons, whatever you want. The Sword and Board is max stamina and Inpen. Notice that the pot is only going to be active on the back bar, so we need to make sure that we drink our potion on the back bar. Speaking of the potion, we are using Immune to Knockback, Health, Stamina. Typically, I would use this potion that gives us Major Savagery. We don't need Major Savagery pots anymore because we don't care about critting. We're using the Malakat's Band of Brutality, which means that we cannot crit. So instead we use the potion that gives us healing as well. Also gives us Major Fortitude, increasing our health recovery. Just kind of nice considering that we're using our Taeum Takeaway Broth, which is going to also give us health recovery. So, Clever Alchemist back bar. I have Titanborn. 1, 2, 3. 3 pieces on the body, all stamina, all in-pen. And then this is going to give us 5 medium, right? 1, 2, 3. Helmet and shoulder are medium. Helmet is max stam. Shoulder is max stam. Try enchant on the cuirass and the legs. Everything else max stam. So 5 medium, 2 heavy. You want a heavy chest because you gain bonuses for being the chest. Bonuses to your armor for being the chest piece. And then we have 1 Titanborn ring. That's going to give us 4 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stamina recovery infused. The 2H maul is going to be disease, Nirnhone. That's going to actually bring us to 6 pieces on the front bar. 4 pieces on the back bar. You can see that it doesn't really matter that we have 6 pieces on the front bar, because on the back bar we still gain that 1096 max stamina. That's going to increase our healing, it's going to increase our damage. Really, not really a big deal that we have 6 pieces on the front bar. So we have Titanborn, 5 piece, only active on the front bar. We have Clever Alchemist, 5 piece, only active on the back bar. And then we have Malakat's Band of Brutality active on both. This is the best setup that I could come up with. It allows me to run 5 pieces on the back bar, 6 pieces on the front bar, as well as 4 on the back. It still allows me to have a monster set, and it still allows me to run 1 mythic item. You're not going to find any setup better than that. Okay, so that is the gear. Next, let's talk about the champion points. Also, real quick, notice that Clever Alchemist gives us spell damage on the 5-piece bonus, yet again increasing the healing that we get from vines. If I have all my spell damage sources, I have my Clever Alchemist procced, I have Balorg procced, I have my Netch up. This thing heals me for like 2.5k every time I get hit. It's crazy the amount of healing that you can get from this. You know, that's basically equivalent to like Vigor healing me. Okay, talk about the champion points. 66 Warlord, 44 Sprinter, 1 Siphoner. You want 1 point in Siphoner because it counts as a negative effect. So when you're fighting someone with purges, like say a Templar or a Warden, a Necro, they have to purge this off and it counts as 1 negative effect. 3 in Bash, you don't really need a whole lot. Bashing got nerfed. There's no point of Bash weaving unless you're using it to interrupt. I guess you can do it on the Sword and Board if you're using Sword and Board like for damage, but really no point. 56 Mooncalf, 56 Tumbling, 44 Shadow Ward. You want a decent amount of points in Shadow Ward just because we do have Sword and Board on the back bar. Once we gain Major Vitality, we just sit there and hold block and spam our spores and we're back up to full health. So no need to dodge roll, just hold block and spam Soothing Spores and you'll be good to go. And then if you need to, you can use your Sword and Board ult and then go on the front bar and do damage because your Titanborn is going to be fully procced. Alright, 43 in Blessed. You want a lot of points in Blessed Dispatch since we don't really have a lot of crit chance. We're not going to have a lot of crit healing, so you absolutely want to have a high amount of base healing. Next up, 13 in Shattering Blows, 9 in Physical Weapon Expert, 56 Master at Arms, 20 in Therm. The reason why we have that 20 is for our Dawnbreaker dot. Again, I like that Dawnbreaker dot. I think it's great pressure. 20 points is not much just to have a little bit extra dot damage whenever you ult somebody. And not only that, the dot applies to multiple people. Dawnbreaker's an AoE, we all know this. 31 Precise Strikes. We've lowered some points into this. Again, We cannot deal crit damage, so we don't really need a whole lot of points in this. That 31 points is just for our crit healing. 42 in piercing, don't need a whole lot. We have tons of physical pen in this build with Balorg and with Titanborn. 56 in mighty. Okay. 56 ironclad, 26 in resistant. We don't need that many points in here, again, because ZeniMax has increased the amount of crit resist that people have now just by adding the base amount. So the points that I took out from here, I added into Spell Shield and Medium Armor Focus. It's not bad to have a few points in here. It scales well. Also, since we don't have really, since we're not playing a Nord, and since we're not using a defense set like Bloodspawn, since that got nerfed, it's kind of nice just to have a little bit of flat spell resist and physical resist. 44 thick skin, 49 hardy, 37 Ellie defender. I like having more points in hardy over Ellie defender because you can dodge a lot of spells being cast at you, right? If I'm low health, I can just start dodge rolling and all of the spells aren't going to hit me. Also, all of the spells are going to get reflected if I'm using spell wall. So you don't need a whole lot of points there. Instead, it's better to have more points in hardy. Just because hardy is probably going to be the type of damage that's going to kill you. Is melee, physical, poison, and disease. A lot of people are also using snipe out there. A lot of night blades, like I said, and that'll help you against that. 27 quick recovery, 19 expert defender. Alright, let's talk about the stats fully buffed. Obviously I'm not in Cyrodiil. Obviously I'm not going to be able to show you Titanborn. I'm not going to be able to show you Balorg. But I can show you using this website. There'll be a link in the description to this build. This is the exact same build, as you can see. Clever Alchemist, Titanborn, everything's the same. The sets are the same. I'm using Balorg with 125 ultimate. That is equivalent to Dawnbreaker's ultimate cost. I have my 4 pieces of Titanborn, below 50% health, I mean. And I have my Clever Alchemist proc as well. So if we look at our max stats, again, we have 33k health. This is in CP. 11k magicka, 27.6k stamina. We're using triple infused on the jewelry, and that's why that max stam is a little bit low. Not a big deal, because we have a lot of stamina recovery. 6k weapon damage. Again, that goes higher. If we save up for like a 500 or 500 ult Balorg, that'll be like 6.3k. Medium armor is also buffing that by quite a bit. That's why I really like the combination of Balorg and Titanborn, because you're getting both physical pen and you're getting weapon damage. And that weapon damage is getting increased by our Mundus and our Orc passives. We have... Okay, we actually do have weapon crit. It's not being shown because of Malekith's Band of Brutality, but I think we have like 35%, and that's only for our crit healing. 19k physical and spell. Again, it's kind of low, I understand that, but we are playing Warden. We have a lot of inherent healing. We have a lot of tankiness with our max health. We should be able to recover just fine as long as we're playing reactive. We're not lagging or anything like that. 3300 crit resist. This is probably a bit high. I don't need this much. If you want, you can take some points out of resistant and put them more into medium armor focus and spell shield. Physical pen. Look at that physical pen. 13k physical pen, and that's not using the two-handed ultimate. That's with Dawnbreaker. You can see that my vines, the tooltip, this is in Cyrodiil, is 1700. Every time I take damage, I gain 1700 health. Notice that this is also with the 10% nerf to healing. in Battle Spirit. So that is a crap ton of healing, especially considering that it's a Magicka ability. Yeah, guys, that is going to be the end of the build. If you enjoyed the video, leave a thumbs up. I know it's been a while and I do apologize. More content to come. I'm going to be doing build videos and whatnot. If you're looking for the stats, you can join my Discord. A link will be in the description. Also, if you're looking for gameplay, you can check out my Twitch, twitch.tv/TimeDazzler. It will also be in the description. Alright? I know it's kind of been a long video and I apologize, but there's a lot of changes to go over, especially considering that my last build video was 11 months ago. Again, I do apologize. More videos coming soon. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this video finds you doing well among the worldwide pandemic as well as the rioting and protesting that's going on. Alright guys, take care, be safe out there. Time Dazzler out. Peace.